But the other point of outrage in Washington today was the arraignment of Trump's former FBI chief turned enemy, James Comey. At Trump's command, Comey has been indicted on charges related to authorizing a leak of classified information, even though investigators found insufficient evidence that he leaked classified information. And the prosecution's lead witness says he never leaked classified information. Other than that, though, lock him up.
Trying to tell the public we're in a massive misinformation campaign. The president himself tweeting out AI videos of fake news reports on healthcare. This is really dangerous and it's really hard. And I cannot express to you the concern and the absolute bafflement and fear of our European allies asking me, is this stuff really going on?
The funny thing about power is how loud it gets when it runs out of meaning. Trump calls it leadership. Kimmel calls it performance art with a teleprompter that never learned punctuation. Walz watches like a teacher grading a blank paper labeled vision. Somewhere between policy and improv, America ended up with a reality show president who treats every scandal like just another episode's cliffhanger.
Trump wants that Nobel Prize so bad. I've seen a lot of Oscar and Emmy campaigns, but no one has ever vied for an award more vigorously than our Dalai Lama.
Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize. He didn't do anything. They gave it to Obama for doing absolutely nothing. He got the Nobel Prize for doing nothing. They should give me the Nobel Prize. Everyone says that I should get the...
And I am going to challenge him. I mean, my God, we've got the White House threatening investigations in jail time because an escalator stopped. Walk up the damn stairs. This stuff happens. This is life. Do not normalize this.
So Kimmel begins where Trump's story always starts. A declaration of greatness so inflated it dares gravity to disagree. The economy is booming. The borders are perfect. The world is jealous. And when facts don't fit the slogan, that's not a slogan problem, it's a facts problem. Walz shakes his head. He's seen confidence before, just never the kind that survives a hurricane of evidence. For a man who claims to build empires, Trump's biggest construction project might be the scaffolding holding up his own story.
The president using the Department of Justice to prosecute people he doesn't like is very concerning, especially if, personally speaking, you are one of the people he doesn't like. No one makes enemies like Donald Trump. He even has a problem with the QAnon shaman now. Remember the guy in the horns who stormed the Capitol? Well, he's doing great, first of all, but he's suing his beloved president.
Every week brings a new emergency, and every emergency gets the same cure. A press conference and a promise that no one else could possibly do it better. Kimmel wonders if the real infrastructure project is the one patching holes in the president's timeline. He talks about rebuilding roads but spends more time rebuilding reality. Walz can't decide if it's audacity or optimism, watching a man rename chaos as efficiency and call it modernization.
The Nobel Prize. I was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. I got the Nobel Peace Prize nomination. I got nominated for the Nobel Prize. Where's my Nobel Peace Prize they don't talk about? A Peace Prize Nobel nomination, and they didn't cover it. And I don't care, but I'm not looking for it. I'm not politicking for it. I'm just saying that there's a lot of unfairness in this world.
Yeah, well, you know what? No one has suffered more unfairness.
There's an art to claiming credit. Trump turned it into a lifestyle brand. The sun rises, that's leadership. The stock market moves, that's genius. A law passes despite him, clearly his influence. If a hurricane changes course, he'll call it strategic weather management. Walz laughs softly, the way you do when disbelief becomes habit. Kimmel sums it up perfectly. This is what happens when a businessman discovers democracy doesn't issue refunds.
The Trump administration will start firing workers instead of furloughing them, and do you think they might target workers in blue states?
I do. I think it goes back to this question, Tom, that it appears like they're trying to do that. The disruption is there. The willingness of the Speaker of the House to blatantly, I have seen Fox News even correct this issue, that trying to tell the public we're in a massive misinformation campaign. The president himself tweeting out AI videos of fake news reports.
He shakes hands like he's signing a licensing deal. Kimmel notes that diplomacy under Trump feels like reality TV dating. Dramatic exits, sudden reconciliations, and everyone pretending they're still in control. Walz compares it to coaching Little League with a player who insists the scoreboard is fake because he doesn't like the numbers.
And why are you suing Donald Trump?
Because he's out of his ding-dong diddly mind. The guy, he's not mentally fit to be president.
But he pardoned you. He gave you a full pardon.
Ipso facto. Does that sound like a guy making rational decisions? I mean, I'm wearing horns and whacking it at the library.
Okay, but...
Beneath the comedy, the machinery grinds on. Agencies translating tweets into policy. Staffers reading facial expressions like ancient runes. Kimmel imagines meetings filled with applause, confusion, and PowerPoints explaining why yesterday no longer counts. Walz wonders how long a government can run on improvisation before it runs out of breath. Trump turns belief into truth, slogans into scripture. The rallies never stop, they just change venues. Loyalty replaces logic. Enthusiasm replaces evidence. Every president leaves a legacy. This one leaves a slogan. As Kimmel quips, if nostalgia were policy, America would be rich.
He's had it hard, guys. He's had it really hard. He claims he's not politicking for the Peace Prize, which must be why the White House posted this very subtle message calling him the Peace President. The Peace President is sending a platoon to invade a yoga studio in Portland right now. This is all you need to know about how we're being perceived around the world. Norway braces for Trump's reaction if he does not win the Nobel Prize.
Walz sees the irony. The man who promised greatness keeps describing a nation that lost it the moment he found cable news. Patriotism turned into merchandise. Pride became a catchphrase. The economy, his favorite trophy, numbers up, genius. Numbers down, conspiracy. Kimmel jokes it's like grading your own report card in crayon. Climate change? Ignored until the golf course floods. Walz calls it selective foresight. A crisis only matters when it reaches the front nine. Under Trump, data bends.
He negotiated the damn trade deal with them. If trade is so bad with Canada, he was the guy who signed the deal. It defies logic. But look, I think this is how he ran business. He stiffed contractors. He stiffed workers. He doesn't pay his bills. He declares bankruptcy. The one thing is, his claim that he's the business president, he is the worst possible business executive that I have ever witnessed.
Kimmel calls it the only administration where science needs a loyalty oath. Walz says it's like a doctor arguing with his own thermometer. The pandemic didn't break the system. It revealed how fragile control already was. Tweets replaced policy, each one louder than truth. Kimmel calls it governance by autocorrect. Walz calls it leadership by bumper sticker. Every failure becomes victory. Every scandal becomes a show. Outrage fatigue, Kimmel says, is the only bipartisan success, because in Trump's America, when everything's dramatic, nothing's accountable.
The Senate Judiciary Committee was at work today hearing testimony from Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi. Bondi refused to deny that border czar Tom Homan was seen accepting $50,000 in cash in a paper bag at a Cava restaurant. He hasn't even denied this. How crazy is it? $50,000 in a bag. The FBI got it on tape. He's still running the border. He's still in charge of rounding up illegals. Hey, Tom, if you're looking for illegals, we found one living in your house.
Trump's cabinet meetings play like sitcom boardrooms. Applause on cue, loyalty for survival, and no one brave enough to leave. Kimmel says it's like praising the chef while the kitchen burns. Walz reminds us real leadership earns respect in silence, not on camera. But in this White House, visibility is victory. The world's adjusted to the noise, still waiting for quiet that never comes. Kimmel and Walz don't mock him to humiliate. They use humor to remind people what normal used to sound like.
The government of Norway is scared he might punish them, that he might declare them an enemy for not giving him the Nobel Peace Prize. Give me that Peace Prize or I'll stick it up your Aurora Borealis. No president has ever been more committed to peace. And he's arresting all the rabble-rousers to prove it.
We have arrested dozens of individuals that are Antifa members or affiliated with them, and I want to thank our Attorney General for prosecuting them and making sure they never see the light of day again.
That's just the Secretary of Homeland Security suggesting we lock up American protesters for life.
The myth of self-made strength repeats like an ad jingle. The louder you shout, the more right you must be. Kimmel calls it confidence without content. Walz calls it emotional economics, invest enough belief and ego stock never falls. But admiration crashes eventually. Truth starts sounding radical when exaggeration becomes the norm. Governance becomes entertainment. Chaos for ratings, outrage for engagement. Kimmel calls it the endgame of reality TV. A leader who forgot the difference between the role and the man.
Comey faces up to 5 years in prison. Today he pleaded not guilty. And the prosecutor in the case is a Trump favorite. Former Miss Colorado third runner-up Lindsay Halligan, who has no experience in prosecution at all. There she is. She was an insurance lawyer, but she's very good looking. Trump picks his lawyers like he's casting a reboot of Suits. They brought Lindsay in at the last minute because the first prosecutor, who himself had been appointed by Trump to the U.S. Attorney's Office 4 months ago, refused to take the case because of a lack of evidence, and also because if you prosecute someone for vindictive reasons, you could lose your license to practice. And in Lindsay Halligan's case, you could even lose your beauty.
Walz says this is what happens when performance replaces purpose. It's not deception. It's immersion. Trump doesn't act like a president on a show. He believes the show is the presidency. Every flash feels like power, every headline like prophecy. Kimmel calls it a feedback loop of self-belief. Together, they don't mock him, they expose him. The laughter stopped being funny the moment it became normal. Their humor isn't cruel. It's exhausted, truthful, and uncomfortably real.
I got to tell you, pointing out just an observation of mine that I made. I just have to say it. You know it, you feel it. These guys are creepy, and yes, just weird as hell. That's what you see. That's what you see.
Look, I get it. You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Kimmel says history won't remember what Trump built, only how loudly he bragged while it fell apart. Walz imagines future textbooks calling this era confidence gone rogue, when tweets replaced telegrams and attention replaced respect. And in the silence after the laughter, one image remains. A man performing to an empty room, still selling a show canceled by reality. The lights are dim, the crowd long gone, but he keeps rehearsing, convinced the ratings are higher than ever.